Evening, everyone.
Evening. Evening.
Thank you for attending. Item 1 of the agenda is to receive apologies for absence.
So apologies from Councillor Fazy and Councillor Strain Francis.
Thank you. Item 2 is to note any declarations of members' interests in this evening's meeting.
A non-pecuniary interest, being a trustee at the Heritage Centre. I don't think it's actually an agenda to decide, but it is mentioned in the report, so I thought I'd mention it.
Thank you. Item 3 is to confirm and sign the minutes of the Marketing and Events Committee meeting held on Monday the 6th of November. I hope everyone's had an opportunity to read through. Any questions, any issues for those who are present? Councillor White?
Oh, sorry, I was going to propose them, sorry.
Oh, thank you. Okay. All in favour?
Seconder.
Seconder? Thank you. All in favour of confirming? Abstentions? 1. Thank you. Item 4, public participation. Any members of the public submitted questions? No? Item 5, to review the year-to-date financial position of the committee. So everyone should have had a detailed income and expenditure report. Any questions? Yes, Councillor.
I noticed that we've got remaining in the budget, which is on page 2, 46.5%. And we anticipating that will be spent before the year end.
Sorry, I'm just...
Back.
Allocations have been made by this committee for the Crazies Races event, which will go forward in the summer, and also £20,000 was allocated to
The anti-violence B.
anti-violence
Yes.
fee. There we go. Sorry, forgive me, I forgot that. So
That's in May.
that will draw down much of the remainder.
Okay, thanks everyone. Moving on to number 7, to know the findings of the Summer 2023 Events Evaluation Report.
So, just item number 6.
Oh, sorry, I've missed 6. Sorry, item 6. To receive an update relating to progress towards the business delivery plan as it relates to this committee.
So hopefully you've all had a chance to read through the detailed breakdown of the business delivery plan. For this year, the majority of things have been delivered or are in progress. The anti-violence B, we have been speaking to Crewe Policing Team and Cheshire East Safer Streets Partnership and British Ironworks, and have put in the event applications for the B to be situated on Memorial Square for the month of May. The Crewe Policing Team have said that they would take the lead on the community engagement side of things. Our officers organising that, and there would be a presence from the Safer Streets bus. You might remember that with the Knife Angel, we were required to do an opening and closing ceremony. We're not required to do anything like that, but we will be doing a press event and sort of a launch event of the bee arriving in Crewe. So plans will begin to happen for that shortly, once we've got a few more details from the policing team about their capacity and things as it relates to that. Second thing to update you on there is Crazy Races. So as you directed in the last meeting on the 6th of November, I was to go away and get all of the RAMs and other health and safety documentation from Crazy Races. We have had all of them from them. We're happy with everything that we've had from them. And we have also done a site visit to a number of sites throughout the town. The site that has stood out as the perfect location is Broad Street. We feel that it's the perfect location because we've got the big green space next to Broad Street and it's the perfect size hill. You'll also probably know that there's quite a wide pavement either side of Broad Street, so it really allows for spectators to be able to have the best possible view of the event, and also there's not it won't affect too many residential areas. There's a couple of houses and businesses that it might affect, but there's nothing major like the other locations that we looked into would have affected. So that's really positive. As you can see here, they've provided kind of a very simple site plan at this stage that just shows the area and also the road closure diversion. So traffic will still be able to get to the church just at the junction of Ford Lane via that Ford Lane diversion. So it shouldn't affect Sunday services and things like that there. The event has had a lot of press and media attention. As you can see, it's been picked up by Cheshire Live, BBC Radio Stoke, BBC West Midlands, so it's had some really good coverage. I wanted to talk to you all about the location today and just confirm that we've had looked into different locations, and now that we've done that, and if you're all happy with that, then we'd like to announce the location on Thursday of this week, which we believe will generate another kind of high interest in the event and hopefully get lots more teams booking on. I'm catching up with Crazy Races on a bi-weekly basis at the moment to see how team sign-ups are going, and at the moment they've got 20 teams signed up. They want to get around 40, but 20 is sort of the minimum they want, so at this stage that's really, really good. And they've got some really good sponsors interested or already signed up, so that's really positive for this stage in the planning. I've also got an update on music events for you. So some of you will know that a number of different community consultation sessions and workshops were held throughout November and December and into January. Actually, I've had some more conversations over the last few weeks. There's been loads of great suggestions and ideas, and we are beginning to progress with some of those ideas. One of the standout ones was that people really wanted to see something else in Queen's Park, following the success of the coronation event. So we are working with the Friends of Queen's Park to deliver an event there. They're a well-established group, so their support is crucial in the delivery of that. One risk, I guess, to music events in Crewe is that there aren't many other groups like that are able to have as much input at the moment, and I think a lot of kind of work to develop people that are either interested or working or involved in music in Crewe in some way or form, whether that be through a venue, whether that be as a musician or just somebody who wants to volunteer. I think there needs to be be a lot more work done with those people to get them on board and get them supporting things like that, because that community support really is crucial. So I did just want to raise that with you. Other key themes that have stood out is a young people's event. So I've been chatting to Holly at the Lyceum and also Cheshire College South and West, both obviously working with young people in different ways through the, you know, they've got the youth group at the Lyceum and then obviously the learners at the college. And they're really keen to do something. We're just kind of piecing things together at the moment to see how we can make that work. So obviously when working with young people, we've got to make sure that it's a safe environment for them and it's done, you know, done properly. So that is something that we're working towards. One opportunity might be the new wave offshoot of Heritage Open Days. So that's something new that's been brought in. Lyceum Theatre have applied to that programme and they've been successful, so we're hopeful that we can do something with them, but that's still something that we're working on. And then as I mentioned, another theme is definitely support for the music scene in Crewe. So that was something that did come up in the consultation, especially the one that you were at then, that you know, there needs to be a joined up approach with venues and musicians. People want opportunities where they can learn new skills and connect with other musicians and venues and all the rest of it. So that is something that I'm looking into as well, seeing how we can work on that. I've had conversations with Crewe Market Hall. They're really keen to do something later on in the year, perhaps in August time. So yeah, there's lots of different ideas around music events, but all looking positive. There is just that, like I said, I do feel like the community do need to be brought along on that journey in order to make them successful. So that is going to be key to them.
So can I ask a question at this bit? So is there anything that the councillors can do to progress that? Because, you know, in terms of messaging or connecting or...
I suppose it's, I mean, funnily enough, this afternoon the Picnic in the Park event has gone on Facebook. And as soon as that has gone out, I've had loads of messages from different musicians that are in Crewe who would like to be involved in things.
Brilliant.
So I do think it is maybe a case of, you know, once we start doing things, people will come along with us. I think one of the key things is going to be making sure that that things happen properly and safely and building up skills when it comes to, you know, risk assessing and performing in venues and outdoor venues safely. I think that's going to be a big one. So yeah, it is looking positive. But yeah, I did want to sort of raise that with you. But if you come across anybody else who wants to be involved, then you know, obviously talk to them about what we're doing and point them in my direction. Really.
Councillor Chapman.
A few, absolutely brilliant by the way, a few things to add hopefully to what you've said in terms of, where am I? Here, Picnic in the Park. When that went live this afternoon, I spent about 40 minutes forwarding that to about 50 people who I knew were linked to the music industry in various levels. I think there's currently something like 30 odd of my friends who've clicked interested or whatever. So yeah, so I did quite a bit of sharing of that this afternoon. What was the other thing I was thinking on that? No, can't remember. Crazy Races, what you call Badger Park is known as Brooklands.
It's down as, I can't remember which map it's on, but it's down as Badger Park on various different maps.
It's
so
known
that's good to know.
locally as Brooklands.
After
There
the
used to
house.
be a big house on the top of it, and the house was called Brooklands, so
Brilliant.
everybody knows the park is
That's good
Brooklands.
to know, thank you.
That slope that you is brilliant. I walked up and down that slope twice a day, every day, on my way to school for years. Well, it felt like it. And absolutely brilliant venue for that. Can't think of anywhere better. In terms of the anti-violence bee, is that still to be located in the same place as the knife man? The only reason I ask is, would that be affected by the construction work going on, or demolition as it is at the moment?
It shouldn't be, no.
Because a lot of the footfall going past that was people coming through the car park going to the theatre and the...
I personally don't think it will be. I think it's one of them things that is so impactful that it will draw people in.
People will come
And
along.
there will be other programming on the police programme around that, and I've already had a number of other organisations say that they would like to be involved in the project as well and have a presence on the square, so I do think that will work. I'm also regularly talking to organisations such as the Market Hall and the Lyceum and other organisations in the town to see if we can sort of programme in a sort of collective approach, so that when we've got something like that happening, everyone kind of gets on board, and almost like, obviously it might not always be possible, but if we can sort of theme things or whatever around things, then we can do. And the likes of the Market Hall have already said, yeah, we'd be well up for that. We'd really like to host, some of the activities that perhaps can't happen outdoors and things like that. So that's really positive to say and to see, and I think will really draw people in.
There's, I've just had an idea. There's a guy who's an artist who works in the Market Hall on a Sunday from 11 o'clock, called David Dukes, and he does children's art sessions, so it might be interesting to link up with him and get him to get kids to do bees and stuff like that, maybe as linking with him. But yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. I just wondered whether there might have to be a bit more work to direct people to the bee, because there won't be as much spontaneous footfall, just people wandering past it through the car park. But yeah, that sounds fantastic. Thank you.
Councillor West?
Yeah, I think really good points. When the messaging of it, when you say Broad Street, originally I was thinking from the other end, coming down from St Paul's that way. This is a much better route, but it might be a wording like downhill towards town, or something like that to make it clear, because I think there is, who knows what that piece of grass is. I know it's called Brooklands, but many people by the
If
same.
you say Broad Street Bank, people know it's Broad Street Bank,
Okay,
don't
right,
they? Yeah.
And the other thing is, I'd like to make a pitch for the Lyceum Square to be used for anything, because it's in danger of, I know in summer we'll have things on, but I want it to be used, and that issue about linking in with the Market Hall and things like that. The Market Hall and the Lyceum and whoever's running things on Lyceum Square, they need to be tied into all these things, because I still have never seen anything on that screen that costs so much money, and it's just embarrassing, really. I really feel quite strongly about it. So I don't know what influence we've got over that, because we don't own it, do we? But yeah, and I know everybody's tried, but just to say to keep.
I think it's a fantastic space. We're hoping to programme some stuff there over the summer holidays as part of Operation Summer, hopefully. And we've already thought about it. We're thinking about Christmas next year as well as maybe a community space. So there's we're definitely considering it in our plans and how we can use it. So.
One of the many frustrations about it, we did get 4 or 5 bands on one afternoon, but it was the worst rainfall we'd had for the whole year, I think. And we're sitting there standing in the rain under a tiny canopy when we had 2 empty sheds that would have been perfect, and I had to walk away. I was so cross because we're not using the fantastic facilities that we've got there.
I agree. Well, I totally agree with every single thing you've said. It was something I was going to bring up and say, yeah.
And it's not ours.
No, yeah, that's right.
Absolutely. It's like I said, we're hoping to use it for certain events throughout the year, and I know that there are plans from community groups and things to use that space. I think, you know, obviously it's been designed as a community space, and I think some work perhaps needs to be done around the accessibility of the community using that space, and you know, making them feel like it's there still. So perhaps that is something that will come with time, once people see the space being used and see it being used in different ways as well. So yeah.
It's just, and in the short term, it's getting hold of the key to the electric box. Dead simple. There's one key, and it's held in one person's hand. Sorry, I'm going on.
No, that's okay. Would you like to continue through all of item 6,
Yes.
and then we can ask more questions?
Absolutely. So also on item 6, I've got an update on Makers Market. Makers Market will be relaunching in February. They took a short break over January just because they find that is a particularly quiet month for them. A lot of traders choose to take a bit of time off and things. So and obviously people aren't spending money after Christmas either. They had a good catch up with them a few weeks ago. They have had some challenges with bringing people into the town centre. A lot of it because of the transport links into the town on a Sunday, and the lack of other facilities that are open in the town centre, which obviously, you know, we can't do much about that other than hopefully you know, talk about the transport links into town through the communications that we put out, because there are still transport links, it just might not be as frequent on a Sunday, and also we're going to have a look at potentially programming some other things around that, and encouraging other venues again to programme around the Makers Markets as well, which they're all really keen to do, really on board with. It's just going to take a bit of time to sort of get it going. Community awards scheme, as I'm sure you're aware, there's been some changes and absences in the team, and there is a community awards scheme that needs to be developed in order to deliver the event. So we would like to ask you to consider moving this event to October in 2024, but obviously we'll go to consideration shortly. So I just wanted to raise that. I've got an update on the UK SBF Arts Development and Trail Project. So as you all know, we've been going through the tender process to contract a suitable organisation or person to help with the delivery of that project, and particularly like the community engagement side of it, and the commissioning and design of the arts trail that will be very much influenced by the community. We've gone through that tender process, and the highest scoring tender was Counterculture Partnership. They're an organisation that have got a huge wealth of experience working with town and city councils up and down the country and internationally. They've worked with Rochdale Culture and Leisure Trust, Port Sunlight Village Trust, Historic England, the V&A Museum, and loads of other organisations on similar or comparative projects. Meetings have begun with them, and they're definitely the right organisation to take this in the right direction. They've got a whole wealth of skills that it's going to be really interesting to see what they bring to the project. So there's a bit of a breakdown there of the plan sort of for 2024 into 2025 for the project. The initial phase will be sort of stakeholder mapping and community consultation, trying to see kind of what's happening already, so that we can bring those organisations and individuals along on the journey, and make sure that their ideas are represented in the trail. So there's a few to have a look through. And then I've got an update on the Christmas light switch on, which feels like it was absolutely ages ago now. A lot has happened since then. So a successful Christmas light switch on was delivered on Saturday the 25th of November. It was delivered under budget, which is great. Based on the footfall data that we've had so far, compared to previous weeks and comparative days, we can estimate that the event welcomed around 6,000 to 7,000 visitors throughout the day. So that's not at one time, that's throughout the day. So that's really positive to see, and that'll be through things like the Christmas market, having performance on throughout the afternoon. We've had loads of really positive feedback through the survey that went out. We've had 43 responses. And as you can see, out of that 43, 39.5 said that the event exceeded their expectations, and 44.2 said that they enjoyed the event. So that's really positive. Loads of really positive suggestions for future years as well, and some really good feedback on what people did want to see more of, and perhaps didn't want to see more of as well. So that's really good to see.
Brilliant.
I have began thinking about plans for next year, because, which seems crazy, but things do get booked up pretty early on. So based on the evaluation and feedback that we've had this year, I think it would be great to see the Christmas market brought back, but bigger next year, potentially through working with a market operator, someone like the Makers Market, we've got sort of a contact list of traders that they can bring in, rather than do it ourselves. The Lantern Parade is also really popular, and people would like to see that developed further. So we've been having to think about how we can do that and make a bigger thing of that. So yeah, a lot exciting, but feels crazy to be thinking about it at the moment.
Okay, any questions before we move on to the considerations? Ms. Clark.
I'd like to add to what the officer has said, and with regards to the UK SPF funded project, we have also asked the contractor to propose some more augmentation, additionality to that, in the concept of members have expressed that there is a keen interest in having more public art and more accessible public art, and suggestion of, for example, only an example, the green utility boxes associated usually with telecoms. They can be potentially painted in nice small murals, but equally the gable end of this building could be muralled up as a first example, and we see in other places when one goes forward, more come forward. So we've asked them to explore that and see what that would look like. It would be a financial ask in the end, but we don't have those figures. But we just want to say at that point where they're going forward, we'll get greater value for money if they're looking into it, and we can find additionalities to that project that members will then be asked to consider for adding public art in the town, as you've expressed before.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Can we agree to refer to them as murals?
Feel free.
Thank you.
No problem.
I have a question about the crazy races. Sorry. It mentions stalls, rides and activities. Is that something that the company Crazy Races team will arrange?
Yes, so they look after everything, all of the event management for that event, which we've got a busy calendar of events, so that's really great that they're going to be looking after all of that, and my attention can be focused on other things. So.
Perfect.
If you look on their social media, you can see all the pictures of what they've done in other towns. It's brilliant.
It's good.
Yeah.
Great.
Have a nosy.
And one more question before the rest of you. Do we know currently what bands, performers are interested or signed up for the picnic in the park?
So we have had some that are interested. We don't have any confirmed yet because we're still in the process of, going through all the proper checks on them. They all need to submit public liability and risk assessments. There are some that did perform last year that were really, really popular that people have said that they would like to see back again. But like I said, this afternoon I've had loads of interest, so I don't think we're going to be stuck for acts.
And I take it we're not going for a particular theme or genre? No.
No, so it'll be very much an accessible, family-friendly theme, with a variety of different acts on. The emphasis will be on, bringing a picnic with you, walking and cycling to the event, so that it does hopefully make it accessible to everybody, to have a free afternoon of music in the schools.
Brilliant, thank you. Any questions from the committee?
It's
Councillor
not a
Rhodes.
question. In the cities and in other towns, they have buskers. And I get the feeling, although I don't know particularly, that it is actually organised. Because you go to Chester, you'll get somebody playing a violin, and obviously they're a music student and they're doing that to augment their income. And we did used to have a busker, but he's not been around for a while. And we do have one guy that comes, but not necessarily every week. And I know you're really busy, but I just wonder, we're talking about art, but art isn't just about paintings, it's about other things as well. So I just wondered if we could have a registered busker scheme, so that we have,
Brilliant.
on Fridays or Saturdays, we have somebody coming along who's going to play a violin or strum a guitar or just put some music around the place. But I know it's probably a lot more officer time than I actually envisaged it to be, so I'm just throwing it out there for consideration.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about buskers and the rules and regs behind it, to be honest with you. So
No, I know, but I think
Pete might know a bit more.
maybe
I've
the
been,
expert.
I've been one. Strange, I got paid to go home. With larger towns and cities, there is licensing of buskers due to the more greater popularity. Looking at Chester or Bath or cities like that, they tend to have a greater footfall based on their tourism draw, and therefore, rather than have competing buskers, they're licensed. That's how that happens. And there is greater demand from the buskers to be there because they'll make more money. Creating a list of people who might be interested, there will be a social media call out and then scheduling them in would take a bit of time. In my most recent experience of that, the availability of buskers is quite limited, and obviously they will be drawn to the spaces they feel are going to see more tourists with more time to dwell and entertain themselves. And at this stage, I wonder if we're quite ready for that. But it's exactly something we can explore, and there's never a no to it, and maybe more information can be provided.
I just wondered if there's any way we could work with the college.
We can work with anyone, yeah. No restrictions on it at all.
I don't expect, I just like it to be explored if that's possible.
There's still lots of musicians in Crewe that used to busk regularly, who just don't busk anymore, just because they used to, just wander into town and set up. There's Rich, who most people know as Angus. Don't know why.
Look fantastic.
Yeah, and Hayley Strangelove, she used to busk every week. But as you say, there's just not the footfall, it's just not really worth doing it at the moment. But yeah, in the future. That would be brilliant.
But is there an option? Is there an option for us to give them a small fee to come into town to busk?
You can commission people to perform.
Yeah, I think it's.
I'd like it as an idea explored. Sorry, Rose.
Yeah, I would agree with Jill.
I just wanted to say that, with the Makers Market, that is, having musicians perform at the Makers Market is something that we would like to look into. And I have had a couple of different musicians come forward who, you know, perhaps would do it to maybe raise funds for a charity or something like that, that we could potentially look into. Obviously it needs to be done properly and safely, but you know, that could be an option to start to introduce that into the high street, hopefully.
They do have a singer at the Makers Market,
Yeah.
but it's the same person there all the
It's
time.
amazing, yeah, she's brilliant.
Lovely singer.
Yeah, she's brilliant, but yeah, they don't have a huge amount of other contacts at the moment, but hopefully we can build on that.
Yeah, brilliant.
Councillor White.
I can't remember what the road surface is like on the bank. I know the other side is really bad. Has anybody talked to? I haven't looked at it as a. Does it need doing?
So we did have a look at it, and it looked okay. Like it was all fine compared to others, especially. So.
Got to remember, a few polls add to the craziness of crazy racing.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't be crazy.
Fill them in. Fill them in with.
I've seen some very interesting artwork around potholes on social media.
Yes, yes, I've seen
We
that
should
too.
encourage that.
Yes, I think so too.
Any more questions?
No.
Okay, we'll move on to the considerations. 3 considerations. The first is just to make members aware of projects delivered. Item 2 is to help launch the 2024-25 Makers Market members. We're asked to consider allocating £1,500 from the strategic events budget to town centre animation and relaunch marketing for the February and March Makers Market Sundays, as discussed. Would anyone like to propose? Thank you. Seconder? All in favour? Unanimous, thank you. And the third consideration is members are asked to consider moving the Community Awards event that was due to take place last year in March and allocate budget to September this year to allow time for the Community Awards scheme to be developed further, as discussed earlier. A proposal, please. Councillor White, seconder. Thank you. All in favour? Carried again, thank you. Next we can go to item 7, to note the findings of the Summer 2023 Events Evaluation Report.
Yep, so this is just to make you aware of the findings of the summer evaluation. It's a really positive report that was carried out by the Audience Agency, who conducted evaluation activities over the summer. This covered the Knife Angel, Operation Summer, Forging History through Works 180 exhibition and Heritage Open Day, so it covered the full programme, and it's given us some really brilliant audience insights, insights into whether the marketing worked and how we can improve on that, the perception and visitor experience of those visitors. So just as an example of some of the findings just that I've pulled out, it's a massive report which hopefully you've managed to have a little look through, but if not, please do have a read through, because there's some really positive stuff in there. So for example, 62% of our Operation Summer audience strongly agreed that having free to access activities during school holidays has reduced the financial impact of school holidays on them. So that's really positive to hear. 41% of visitors to the Knife Angels said that they strongly agreed that seeing and participating in activities and events made them feel proud to live in Crewe. So again, a really positive little snippet there to pull out. Obviously, evaluation is really, really important so that we can continue to improve our events and also make sure that the community's ideas and thoughts are represented, but it can also help us with future funding bids, so really good to have that.
All sounds really positive. I'm so glad people enjoyed it. Any comments, questions?
I think it's great to have a genuinely objective really, because it was really warts and all, wasn't it? Have we had any time to sort of digest it and come up with our own conclusions based on that?
So not so far yet, but as I begin looking into planning this year's summer activities, I will be referring back to this. It's quite a sort of comprehensive report in that it pulls out a lot of those conclusions so that you can sort of pull them together quite easily. So yeah, it will be something that I'll be referring back to quite a lot over the coming months.
So when we do those conclusions, it would be nice to have some evidence base, so you can reference the report. I expect you to do that a little bit. I think it would be to capitalise on the objectivity of that. Would be really good. We're doing this because the Audience Agency has found that.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to item 8. Item 8 is a draft Marketing and Events Committee Business Delivery Plan for 2024-2025.
So based on, this has been based on the draft budget that was submitted and approved on the 6th of November. There's quite a lot to go through here. So nothing particularly new in this first bit. So in this draft business delivery plan, £50,000 has been allocated to funding school holiday activities. So I've just made that a little bit broader so that it's not just summer holiday activities, because I do think that people are looking for things to do in other holidays throughout the year, and I think it would be really good to have that extra time to be able to plan it as a sort of annual programme of things that happen throughout the year, rather than be kind of doing it like we did last year with Operation Autumn, where it was kind of like, right, we've finished Operation Summer, now let's do Operation Autumn and that kind of thing. So it'll just make everything a bit more streamlined. I've also put down £6,000 for animation. This would be to add value to the makers markets and other key moments throughout the year, so to support them. So that might be walkabout activities, it might be music, it might be films on Lyceum Square. With all of those things, you know, for example, putting a film on Lyceum Square, it's not just the cost of putting the film on, we'd also need to close that road off that comes down Hill Street and through Heath Street, because you know, we could potentially have quite a few people in that space, and we may also need to look at stewarding and first aid depending on how popular we think it's going to be. So that would be for things like that. There's £8,000 there for Heritage Open Days. Vicky and I have had a few conversations about what that might look like next year, and I know she's been speaking to the heritage groups about this, that she'd like to do more of a kind of like skills workshop theme for the Heritage Fair, and programme some sort of big names with the talks and things. So we've had some conversations about that, but it does need further definition. Following the success of some of the community events this year, I think it would be really beneficial to continue to fund some of them. So particularly Armed Forces Day, Crew Pride and International Women's Day, which we've funded in past years.
Do we know who's organising Crew Pride? Is it Body Positive again?
I'm pretty sure it's Body Positive, yeah. So they've submitted an application to Cheshire East Council, but as far as I'm aware, that's as far as it's gone at the moment.
Okay.
Then obviously we've already talked about music events. So the music events that I'm planning at the moment obviously are for 2024-2025 and will come out of the 2024-2025 budget. So we agreed in an earlier meeting that there would be 4 music events, 15 up to £15,000 of that has been allocated to delivering a picnic in the park event. And then the rest is still to be defined, but we have got some ideas that obviously I'm working on at the moment. Christmas programme, no massive changes there. Obviously there's £60,000 for the annual Christmas lights, the public realm Christmas lights throughout the town centre. 27,000 for Christmas activities, so this would be things like the Christmas light switch on and hopefully some supporting activities as well in the run up to Christmas. And then the Christmas light sinking fund, which is there for in case something needs replacing on the lights. M&E projects, there's £12,000 for event sustainability, so this would be about capacity building through upskilling, volunteer support, training and toolkits. So I think this would really build on the what's going to be happening with the arts trail, so there'll be a lot of that upskilling happening with that, but this would allow us to make that a little bit broader and perhaps look at, you know, other types of arts and culture that could support, and in particularly that volunteering, so that we can increase that volunteering capacity when it comes to events and culture throughout the town. I've put down 10,000 for evaluation, so this would be for evaluation throughout the year, so that would help to produce reports such as the summer programme report that we've received from Audience Agency. Obviously that needs a little bit more definition as to what that will be evaluating at the moment, but again that will really help us to evidence what we've done, the feedback that we've had, and use it for future planning and potentially funding bids. I've also put in here 3,500 for the Makers Markets business rates. So you probably know more about this than I do, but it's Cheshire East Council have begun charging business rates for feature markets throughout Cheshire East. Am I explaining that?
The Valuations Office sets business rates, not the local authority, but the local authority is tasked with collecting them. Valuation Office has identified that feature markets should be subject to non-domestic rates, business rates, and as such Cheshire East has enacted that view and is seeking to apply NDR, non-domestic rates, business rates, to feature markets across the borough, not just Crewe. There are a number across Cheshire East. There's the Treacle Market in Macclesfield being by far the largest. Knutsford has one, Congleton has one, Nantwich has one. They're all over the place. So it's not specific to Crewe, but it is most of the feature markets run on a nominal to nil profit basis as a benefit to the town. As it's our event and we operate and apply for the event to happen, then if we want it to carry on happening, we're going to have to pay business rates for it. It's as simple as that. That's where we sit on it. It's not a great piece of news, I'll be quite frank, but it's a positive thing that's very popular every month and adds value to the town.
So that's 3,500 each. That's
We haven't had that confirmed yet. They're effectively
But
Cheshire.
it's
It's indicative of what's expected.
it's not a vast amount. Is
It's
it?
not a vast amount to us, but if you're a small business
Oh
operator,
yeah.
it effectively means there wouldn't be one. But thankfully, because we apply for the event and we see it as an event and a service of economic development and positivity for the town, we do have the opportunity to address it.
Right. Good.
Thank you for the calendar on page 6, including Star Wars Day. That's nice. It reminds me though that we do have quite large sporting events this summer, such as the Olympics in Paris, right? Is it Paris? obviously the Euros football as well in Germany. And I was just wondering, going back to Councillor Wise, ask for the Lyceum Square TV. Perhaps, would there be costs involved for airing a BBC broadcast?
Okay. Lyceum Square is not owned by this council or operated by this council.
No.
But we obviously want to see it as a thriving space and successful. We will more than happily carry on, as we already do, engaging with the operator of that space, which is the Lyceum Theatre, and the owner of that space, which is Cheshire East, and happily ask those questions because they're perfectly valid points. Can we get them on there? We've got time between now and then to identify if what and if costs would be of airing those, and if it's going to be a cost, we'll happily bring it back to you if you want to consider paying for it. And equally, if it's a goer, we can support it in the promotion and positive activity of trying to activate that space, as it were. It's been an immense challenge trying to get anything to happen in that space. We don't have any control over it.
Okay, but yeah, it's a potential.
Yes, I think it's a really positive idea, and we will definitely have a go, and we'll come back with a clear and open of what can and can't be done, and if there are any associated costs. Can't answer it today, but I just want to reassure you that that's not something we will prevent, but we have no control over it.
Yeah, because I imagine England playing football might draw a crowd into the town centre.
Yeah, maybe.
Although that could obviously bring a bad crowd too.
It'd be better if maybe we were watching Wales, though, wouldn't it?
Well, we'll find out if we're there in March. I think Finland is the first
I
hurdle.
didn't realise where this was going. I see now. A lot of Finns.
We'll see if more than one. Well, Scotland will be there too.
Oh well.
So. Okay. Any other questions about the budget? Draft budget? Looks good. Thank you.
For clarity, that'll come back to the next meeting of this committee for recommendation to council for the whole council business delivery plan.
Yes. Moving on then to item 9. Item 9 is a social media and comms update.
Yep, so the first report is for December 2023. Number of posts, etc. is all at the bottom there for you to see. The comments and likes and link clicks all increased on the previous month, probably most likely with there being sort of communications around Christmas and things like that, and various other things going on, so that's really positive to see. There's also the November one as well. You can see again there's an increase in November as well. So that again will have been with big events like Christmas and things happening. And we've got all the way back to October because it's been a while since we've had a meeting, and this one wasn't quite ready for the last meeting. And again, that was a really positive month. So lots going on there. Does anyone have any questions about any of that?
I thought the video was good.
Video was brilliant.
Beautifully directed.
Yes.
No, it's great to see that people are visiting our channels, our sites, to be informed as well, such as the Crazy Races event announcement.
Absolutely, I mean,
So
the
it's
reaction
well worth
to that was absolutely amazing to see. And I think it's always a really good gauge to see, how popular an event is going to be, the kind of we might expect from an event. I think that one in particular is going to pull people in from all over the place, so that's really good to see.
Yeah, I hope, yeah. Okay, item 10. It is recommended that committee considers a resolution under Section 1 of the Public Bodies Act of 1960 to exclude the public and representatives of the press from the meeting during consideration of item 10 on the grounds that matters contain sensitive information and by reason of a confidential nature of business being transacted. Do we need to switch off, or?
If the motion is carried, then yes. You have to resolve to go into closed session.
Yes.
Yes.
There's a proposer, a seconder.
Oh, can we propose yes, then?
Yes,
Thank you.
propose.
And a seconder? All those in favour?
Yeah.
Thank you.